It happened there, and it can happen here. Today, a sobering warning from the FBI director about Hamas-style and Hamas-inspired terror.
We assess that the actions of Hamas and its allies will serve as an inspiration, the likes of which we haven't seen since ISIS launched its so-called caliphate several years ago.
Now, listening to the FBI director, it suggests that Hamas hopes to copy that ISIS model. You could see it on social media after October 7th. The propaganda videos culled from GoPros worn by terrorists and snuff films shot on iPhones that glorified savage murder. The potential downstream consequences of all of this are big, and they are lethal. ISIS directed or spawned hundreds of attacks since 2014. And this new threat is uniquely tailored to target one group in particular, Jews.
The Jewish community is targeted by terrorists really across the spectrum. Homegrown violent extremists, foreign terrorist organizations, both Sunni and Shia, domestic violent extremists, and in fact, our statistics would indicate that for a group that represents only about 2.4% of the American public, they account for something like 60% of all religious-based hate crimes.
For more, I want to bring in journalist and former Fox News host Geraldo Rivera. Geraldo, thanks for being here. Hi, as Abby. Always. Just as we were coming on the air, the U.S. Attorney General announced that a student at Cornell University, a 21-year-old, Patrick Dye, he's a junior at the college, he's been arrested for making those threats against Jewish students on campus. These were vile and violent threats, blatantly anti-Semitic. What is going on in this country that a college junior at an elite school like Cornell would be responsible for something like that?
Mostly at this point, Abby, it has been angry rhetoric, but ugly words have a way of, translating into violence eventually. And when you have these really ugly, vile things being shouted one side against the other at some of the most elite schools in the country, it's really unnerving. Particularly, I'm like millions of other American parents tonight, Abby, our kids are filing college applications. This is the season for that. We have a high school senior, and we want her to go to the best school she possibly can get into. We care about the quality of education, the reputation of the school, the location. We never thought that we'd have to worry about our daughter being Jewish. And now with this guy, Patrick Dye, and some of the other things that are being said on the streets of campuses throughout the country, the most elite colleges in the country, you start to worry. This thing in Cornell, where this kid was putting out threats, slit throats and stab and shoot and rape and throw off cliffs. We have friends who have kids in Cornell, Jewish kids in Cornell. They were locked down. It was so terrifying. And I think that, I worry that you go from verbal to actual as this rhetoric really metastasizes into violence, Abby.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's incredibly disturbing what we saw there and what we're seeing all over the country. You mentioned the rhetoric here. I mean, look, people feel really strongly about this issue. The conflict between the Israelis and the Palestinians has been going on for 75 years. But we're also seeing some examples here of some rhetoric. This is from Congresswoman Cori Bush. She called Israel's actions in a tweet, she called Israel's actions an ethnic cleansing campaign. She's not alone in that, by the way. I mean, many on the left are calling it that, accusing Israel of genocide. But do you think that that kind of rhetoric, even as hot as the opinions are, is, justified in this kind of environment?
First of all, we have to acknowledge that what happened on the 7th of October was something that no hyperbole can possibly match. Babies and pregnant women and bellies cut open and people killed in front of their children, their hands amputated before they were murdered, and the horrible crimes committed. And then you have this attack on the Jubalia refugee camp on the other side, and you're seeing babies being taken out of the rubble. You see how the Palestinian and Israeli or Jewish alike, how there's plenty of reasons for provocation. War is hell. This is really horrible what's happening. Israel has every right to avenge what happened and bring the perpetrators to justice and free these hostages. The Palestinians are trying in their own way to live when they have Hamas, a terrorist group that perpetrated this crime, and they made it as horrible as they possibly could, specifically to encourage or to provoke Israel into responding. And then they hide behind their civilians. The words are horrible, but the actions are even worse. What we don't want is the words here in the United States to become action. What we don't want, hate crimes and violence. This kid, Patrick Dye, who was he speaking with on this chat line? This is a bright kid by all accounts. He had Bitcoin companies and crypto and virtual reality and all the rest of it. This is a kid who looked like he was living the American dream, and he turns into this monster, at least in terms of what he is saying. And what if someone hears this and then takes it literally and then acts on it? Because there certainly have been and there will be even greater provocations going forward. I think that President Biden has to step into this right now. He has to calm the American people down. Yes, you have a right of free speech. Yes, you have a right to protest and to demonstrate. What you don't have a right to do is tell someone you're going to slit their throats, shoot them, rape them, or throw them off a cliff. I think that I am pleased at the action of the FBI office in Albany, the New York Capitol, in catching this kid. I want to know who he was talking with, whether any of them were spreading this hate. They've got to make sure they've got to nip this in the bud because it's spread. Every Ivy League school, every major college in the country is witnessing these passionate protests. Abby.
And of course, we should say that this suspect who was arrested is accused and has not been convicted of these allegations. But we will see where that all goes. Geraldo, thanks for all of your insights into all of that. Thank you.